Welcome to the Daily B Show with Matty B. Woo! With Taylor James Cottano in from Louisiana today. Now, Taylor's a guest. He's a special guest. He's a successful author. He's built he's created the Grab Your Wheel training program to help people get in alignment with what they're doing in life and in business. And he's built himself a successful, multi-million dollar successful consulting company as well. So, I'm really excited to get him on, have a chat, and basically see where things are at over in Louisiana and how he does and goes about and share his story with you guys as well. Good to see you guys. Cheyenne, Adam, Taylor, jump on in, brother. It's a little bit windy here, so I do apologize. Hey, bro.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Oh man, look, it's if you know Louisiana, we don't know what the weather's gonna be like. So it's hot today, cold tomorrow. We making it.
Yeah, 100%, man. I actually thought it was gonna be a beautiful day. It's 32 degrees, but overcast and windy. So if it gets a bit windy, I apologize, but hence the tank top and the sweltering heat as well. It might be a little bit sweaty as we go along.
Heard that, man. No big.
Hey, man, I love your accent too.
Oh, thank you. Look, the coon ass, you can't take it out of us, man. It comes with us everywhere.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I just gave you a really brief introduction, shared about how you've authored yourself a few books. You've created this some pretty good programs helping business owners and people just get in alignment with what they're doing and really hit the ground running, and created a pretty successful consulting business yourself along the way over the last few years. But
Yeah.
For those that don't know you in this network, can you share a little bit more about who you are and what you're doing with yourself, mate?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I am, like you said, Taylor Cottano. I was born and raised in a small town, New Rose, Louisiana, by some beautiful parents. My mother was an operator. I consider her an operator, and basically what that was is, if you know Marcus Luttrell's story, he was a lone survivor. He did everything to accomplish his goal. Well, my mama's goal was to raise a gentleman, and that's what she did. She did her damnedest,
Beautiful.
and she did everything possible. On the other end of the spectrum, I have my father, and he was the entrepreneur in the family. And so he gave me the real. I had all these dreams, and he's like, son, let me tell you how the world works, and this is how it's going to be. So I got that reality early on in life. And but that's where I got my entrepreneurial spirit. And from my mother, I got my love for taking care of people. And so I got done with high school, went to college for nursing, and I played 4 years of college football there, learned a lot about leadership, was a defensive captain of the team, and kind of learned how to network with people and how those dynamics worked. Got done with that, went through nursing school, and wanted to help people. I mean, that was the goal at the end of the day was, my mother was a nurse, her mother was a nurse, and I kind of wanted to carry on that lineage. From there, got through nursing school, and which was, had its doozies itself. You get really personal with people in the nursing career,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
and so anyway, found out quickly that it was a field that it's a special field. It takes some grit and it takes some patience, and a lot of the times the work that those nurses do, it's you're dealing with people in some of their toughest times. They don't go in the hospital every day. It's a big event in their life, and I really enjoyed that. But I always knew that I can affect one person in the hospital, but if I was able to change a policy, say, or change a practice in healthcare, I could affect thousands. And so that's kind of where I went out on my journey. And really what motivated me to do that was a manager. I said, hey, man, I'm going out there to change policy. And he says, the hell you are. He said, you're going to be stuck here for 10 years. And so, that was a little kick in the ass. But anyway.
How long were you nursing for up until that point?
It was about 2 years. So 2 years in the ICU. So we took care of open heart surgery or patients in vehicle accidents. So getting them back to where they could, function, or a lot of times it was just, trying to do the best we could.
Yeah.
So from there, I kind of started looking out, and I'd done an internship with a healthcare policy consulting firm. And so I basically pitched my service. I said, look, I'm a clinician. I understand what nurses function in the hospital. I understand the regulations associated with that. Let me come on board and I can help you. And so from there, they brought me on board and I started doing clinic management. And from there, we grew that to be a multi-million-dollar consulting firm. But in that firm, I learned some of the best lessons of how not to do business. And so, those are the hardest lessons learned, but those are some things that I took forward. It was, learning cash flow, learning communication, learning deliverables, learning expectations. And all those things kind of boiled up to where we got to a point in what I call the whitewater phase where it imploded. We weren't structured, and so that fell apart. And that's where I started my consulting firm. And basically what we do is three things. So we evaluate practice. We come into your facility. We tell you what's going on, what we found that may be out of the realm of being in compliance. The second thing we do is we educate, and so we educate you as to how to fix that, and we actively work with you to fix those things. And then we enhance. So whether it be service lines or whether it be bringing new physicians in, we do a little bit of that, and even start some clinics or some hospital startups. So that's it in a nutshell, man.
And is it mainly medical clinics that you're working with then, yeah?
Yeah, so anything from down a dirt road clinic in a rural area in Louisiana to a large academic medical center. So anything from as small to as big as that and everything in between.
Lovely, man, lovely. And so take us back. What's mum and dad's name?
Brad and Judy. Yep.
Brad and Judy. Shout out to Brad and Judy.
Oh yeah, shout out to them, man. They're huge. I mean, they've supported me the whole way, and that was a big thing. Is they never doubted. So it was really cool.
That's really important. How you would have seen a lot of people in business and in life that didn't have that support. How imperative has that been for you, do you feel?
It's huge, man. Especially I had that balance. And so coming up as a kid and my brain doesn't stop. I come up with these ideas and I have my mom to say, yeah, I think you can do something with that. You just got to work hard. My dad, on the other hand, saying that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, like stick with what works. Absolutely. So it was a great balance for me.
Fantastic. So how long have you been running your practice now for? Currently?
So yesterday was 3 years. And so 3 years we've been able to, oh, thank you, sir. But yeah, we've been able to really help a lot of folks get started or fix different things that are going on. And then in crisis, we help them through that situation to where we can take that stress off and we can take that burden until the process is over with. So yeah, it's been great, man.
Talk to me about that shift, that change going from that nursing life and into your own practice to start with. Like that seems like a pretty big jump, especially going from an employee mindset. Obviously, you had the mindset of your dad that had that sort of entrepreneurial blood flowing through your system. But talk to me about that shift and that actual mindset change and what had to happen for you to kill off that employee side of you and take on that new venture.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know in nursing, a lot of the times it was procedural based. We were schooled on how to take care of people. It would be a classic clinical symptom, and we kind of knew this is what the books say, what you got to do and how to do that. Well, in business, there are no books to teach you about business. They can tell you what you may run into, but some of the obstacles and struggles that business owners go through, you got to live it, and you've got to go through it, on your own. I think the biggest change was that the mindset. It was, okay, I'm in this position, I'm taking care of people, and I can only go so far. And that glass ceiling was very present. It takes a while to work up the ranks and that, or you go back to school and that, and then changing that mindset to where, look, man, the more you can learn and the more you can experience and the more you can help people, the more impact you will have on other people. So not only on maybe helping increase revenue in a facility, but say you change one practice that can keep hundreds of people out the hospital, from coming back. That's what's huge. And it's changing that mindset from one at a time to thousands and hundreds at a time to impact.
Yeah, beautiful, man. So what I'm hearing is that you just weren't satisfied with the level of impact that you were having, and you just had that hunger for more and really that desire to really want to make a bigger impact of what was the processes and procedures were allowing you to as a nurse then, yeah?
Absolutely. And there were things that I also took from my nursing practice and brought to me with my business. And so like that nurse side will never leave me. And those processes will never leave me, but I'm just learning how to tailor those into the current business that I have now. So both have been very beneficial.
What were some of the biggest things that you took away from the nursing side of it?
I think one of the biggest things, and we call it the PDCA, and boy, if anybody I'm working with is listening to this, they're laughing right now because I drill them on that. And basically what a PDCA is in the nursing field is plan, do, check, act. And so it's the same thing in business. So, in healthcare, we're going to build a plan for you if you have something going on to either achieve something or to fix something. Then we're going to do it. You have to execute it. And there are certain things that you got to have to execute that. Then you're going to check it. You want to check to make sure that it's working. If it is working, then you're going to continue. If it's not, you're going to change that. And then you got to act. So like I said, if it works, great.
Beautiful.
We're going to keep that into practice and we're going to educate the whole gambit on it. If it doesn't, we're back to the top, back to planning. And so that constant circle has really helped us keep structure with the clients that we have now. And that can apply to any field, whether it be billing or whether it be clinical practice. So that's one of the big things that I've taken.
Yeah, wonderful, and something that anyone in business can take on and adapt that. That's actually reminds me. I did a bit of work as a in construction as a youngster, and one of my mentors in there is like measure twice and cut once.
Exactly. So true, man. So true.
So, bro, with that, again, that shift over and going from the employee into your own businesses, what were some of your own personal insecurities or fears and challenges that you really had to face and overcome in order to maintain that course of action and grow a successful consultancy business like you have?
Man, I think the biggest thing for me was just those limiting beliefs I had. And, we talk about this in the Grab Your Wheel program that you mentioned is, everything up until now has affected you. All those beliefs, all those things that happen to you are in your subconscious mind. And, your subconscious mind is literally 95% of your functioning brain. Only 5% is going towards the target. And I always say it like this. I say, in my Cajun accent, I say, Shat, you got 95 horses running one way and you got 5 horses running the other way. Who's going to win that battle? And so those limiting beliefs, in the nursing career, my director telling me you're never going to go anywhere further than this, or the consulting firm I was with is you're too young, you're too unexperienced. I think those things, once I learned how to conquer those, and stop letting those things hold me back, that's when my business truly launched. And I really, I think that's true with any business owner. I mean, even from childhood, there's some things that maybe you were taught that you don't even realize. And those things may be holding you back. And it's not until you say, you know what, I am experienced. And my consulting firm is the absolute best choice for services that these folks can choose. And it's till you have that mindset that you get rid of those limiting beliefs that launches you. That's what we've seen.
So what was some of the catalysts or processes or ways that you did to conquer them?
I know really it was just some self-introspection. It was really getting personal with myself, saying, man, look, why on earth do you feel like you're inexperienced? I mean, look at your track record. Like, sit down and see what you've done, or see how much stress you've taken off of people's plate, or see, the folks that were able to go home in the afternoon because it was taken care of. I mean, you're making impact. And it's like, realizing that you have a valuable service. And I always tell this to people. I say, it don't matter who you are. You have something to offer people, and people want that, and you're doing them a disservice and not giving it to them right now. Don't let your excuses get in your way.
100%. It's I've started a 30-day Go Live challenge a while ago, and one of the first things I noticed was when people got on and actually just exposed themselves, starting to share their vulnerabilities, be authentic, it very quickly became not about them and their insecurities, but about all the strength that people who were watching were drawing from those moments and from those people that are out there. And it's it's pretty epic, man, seeing that when you do step out from behind your own veil and those insecurities, the amount of people that draw strength from your action in being in that space. Is that something you've noticed as well?
Absolutely, man. And it's one of those things that I always preach is positivity is contagious. If you walk into a situation and you have that look on your face, you're down, you don't want to be there, then those people don't want to be with you. If you're excited, if you're forecasting what it's going to be, how it's going to feel, what the vision is like, That's what people want to do. They don't want Taylor to come fix my consulting problem. No, they want to relieve the stress. They want to go on the weekend. They want to have a good time. That's what we're aiming to do. You know, those emotions. That's what it's all about. Not the end goal. The end goal is important. I truly believe the end goal is important, but it's about, you know, making sure that people are satisfied and happy and positive with the process.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. And what about with respect to, I mean, people see the glory. People see the shiny exterior of the successes, because that's essentially when we do start spruiking and shouting it out from the rooftops as well. But what's some of the really big challenges you've had to face in your consultancy that maybe people haven't seen from unless they were behind the curtain with you?
I think some of the biggest things would be expectations. Is you know, starting off in the career, you want to promise the world. You know, you're going there to fix it, and if you don't set those clear expectations, sometimes you get your ass in a bind, because you get into a project or you start working with a client, and it's one thing, then it turns into the next and the next, and all these things. They expected it all, and we didn't clarify that. That's been one of the biggest struggles. I think another one of the biggest struggles for us has been honesty, client honesty, and getting the true picture. You know, nobody wants to admit to their faults. You know, they don't want to until, you know, one of the biggest parts of our service is recovery. And that's when someone comes into their facility and says, look, this is out of compliance. You got to fix that. And it's not taking, you know, the initiative to fix it up front so that doesn't happen. So that's been an issue with us is, you know, we're not told everything. And then we get there, it's just like, oh, find a lot of that. So
is there a way you've found to mitigate that dishonesty or that sort of insecurities that some business owners approach you with to draw out the truth?
I think so.
Going through the process.
I think it's hitting it in the mouth. You know, when we walk into a client, we set the expectation about like, look, we can only do the best with what you give us. And so we say nothing is on the table. What we talk about goes nowhere. And at the end of the day, we're trying to make you as successful as possible. So we want to know everything. We're the good guys. We're here to fix. And I think having that clarity and building that trust with the client has been, you know, has kind of been twofold for us. It's not only let them trust us, it's also kind of given us a little bit of freedom in where we take the project as well.
Yeah, beautiful. What is the vision for you guys and for your business in the long run?
I know the vision would be, right now, you know, we're focused in the southern states. We really want to we want to go nationwide, man, because, I mean, our goal, or basically our statement is we help hard-working healthcare professionals create solutions to increase revenue and then also maximize productivity. And healthcare, one of the biggest, you know, the headaches is productivity. It's constantly changing, and it's tough to adapt. And so we want to create a proactive culture to where not only are they, you know, making the revenue to keep their operations going, but they're actively increasing the quality of care that they provide people. You know, we never want someone to go into a healthcare facility and get sicker. I mean, it makes no sense, you know. We always want to be, you know, to do what's best for that patient, because that's the focus. And we can't lose sight of that and get money focused. So that's kind of our vision, what we want to, you know, spread across the nation.
Yeah, beautiful. What is your opinion when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry and the sort of back and forwards opinions about it being more about business than healthcare?
I think, you know, when politics get involved, when money gets involved, when relationships get involved, I think things can kind of go sideways. I think when you have an industry as big as healthcare and with as many details as that healthcare has, I think there's room for, you know, lying, cheating, all these things. You see it in the news daily, health information being spread or fraud happening. And it's just you know, it's just like any industry. There's going to be the great, there's going to be the awesome stories like St. Jude, but then there's also going to be the horror stories of people embezzling or people doing, you know, just committing fraud and all those things. You know, I really pray and hope that some things can be put in place to make it more consistent.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And coming from a nursing background, have you had much experience with the other side, like the Eastern philosophies and the Eastern practices of medicine and holistic healing, anything like that, or is it purely the Western medical centers that you're sort of working with around Louisiana?
No, man, absolutely. You know, we encourage any different practice, and you know, I guess we've been in some situations to where that's been discouraged. You know, because of whether it was cultural belief or whether it was wanting to just have a different opinion. You know, our firm always encourages do what's best for you. You know, this facility is going to do what it does to take care of you, but if that's not along your lines, or that's not along with where you want to head or what you believe in, then take it upon yourself, and you make that option. We always preach for patients to be their advocate. Ask, why are you doing this? You know, what are you doing? And then we encourage facilities to be happy about telling them why, because an educated patient is a happy patient, you know?
Yeah,
And so that's one of the biggest things that, you know, one of the most recent projects has been antibiotics. You know, don't just, when you get sick, say, I want that, I want a shot. Understand the process, understand what's
yeah.
going on, and ask those questions. So education's power, man.
It's just like you said with the process you walk into with your clients, same as clients walking in with them, is the doctors and the physicians, they can only work with what they've given. And unless it's all out on the table and that honesty and that truth is there, like you said, education is key. So that being
So
open
true.
both ways. And so, mate, talk to me about some of the biggest impacts or biggest people that have had impacts on your life. You've spoken about your mum and your dad and one of your managers as well. But who are some of the people that really impacted and shaped you as a businessman and as a man in general going forwards from where you are now?
Yeah, so like I talked about my folks, and then that manager, you know, that wasn't, you know, that was just kind of driving force. But I know one of my coaches from college, he was our defensive coordinator, and his name was Buchanan, and he was kind of like a second father to me. And, you know, it was the school of hard knocks in football. It was, you know, always the stories or always the lessons, and it was the constant. I think how I built my drive was that I could have a lights out game or have a lights out play, and he would always say, good job, but you could have done this better, or, you know, awesome tackle, but you could have done this better. It was never perfect. You know, it was always something that we can do to better ourselves. And I always say that in business as well. You know, in my consulting practice, there's always something that's the enhanced part of what we do. There's always something we can get better at, or there's always something we can build on. And then the same thing with the coaching that we do for business owners. There's always something, you know, complacency is, you know, in my mind, the worst thing that can happen. You know, we believe you're either moving forward or you're dying. There ain't no staying still. And I think his influence to always say, well, that was great, but how can we do that better, or how can we do that bigger, has really been a great influence on me. And then also, I want to give a shout out to my coach, Craig Ballantyne. Craig had, yeah, you know Craig?
No, not yet, but I will.
Yeah, man. I found Craig online, and one of the biggest things when I did that introspection on my business was discipline and structure. And so I had the knowledge base, but I really needed I needed to segment my life in a way to where I can be productive and then also have time with my family. You know, I was finding the balance to be a lot on business, and my family life was lacking. And so I reached out to Craig. And I mean, you know, there ain't no way I'm going to be like Craig. He's like the most disciplined man alive, but I've taken some things from him and just been able to utilize those in my business, in my life. And ultimately, man, it's been amazing. You know, he's helped me. I mean, we had right at a 44% increase from January to February just by putting some little things in place that he had mentioned. So, I mean, props to him and props to everything. And the mastermind group, all those guys are great.
Isn't it amazing? Like, it doesn't take, people want to get these big wins, but sometimes it's such a small little shift that needs to happen to have such a massive, massive result.
Man, it's so true. It's so true. You know, one of the biggest things, like we have seven core elements on Grab Your Wheel, and the sixth one is you got to do maintenance to your vehicle, basically. You know, you got to change the oil, you got to rotate the tires, and some people don't know how to do that. And so, like, you have to have a coach And it's you know, it's crazy to me because it took me 29 years of my life to realize that that, you know, growing up, your parents coached you through life. You had a teacher in school, they coached you. You had sports coaches, and then you get out into the world and you just think you can do it all your own, you know. And you know, that's kind of what we offer people, is that coaching voice to say, like, look, don't make those same mistakes we made. You know, accelerate faster and don't hit those road bumps. Hit your own road bumps. You know.
Cool. There's definitely something to be said about learning from others.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it, man. Hey, but you were at the at 10X GrowthCon, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hell of an experience, huh?
Wasn't it epic? Yeah, it was a rock show and seminar, concert, and just epic networking event. So many just the caliber of conversations and people that were meeting in there. Yeah, brought together a really good group of people. It was pretty epic. You found
Awesome.
it? Yeah.
Oh man, look, I didn't sit down, dude. It was just like, it was so hyped the whole time, you know?
Yeah. No.
Oh, there we go.
Dropped out a little bit. Yeah, it was hype. I hardly watched much of the actual event. I watched some speakers that I really wanted to see and caught a bit of it, but I was too busy networking, talking, and meeting people. It was just full on. It was nonstop.
Yeah, same, man, same.
What I was going to lead into as well, man, was just generally speaking, because you're obviously dealing with a lot of businesses and seeing a lot of the ins and the outs of how business owners operate and where they're sort of falling down and needing you guys' assistance. But what are, generally speaking, some of the main flaws that business owners portray, or the things that business owners are missing in their small practices that that are really fundamentals and imperative to really get right, that you pass on, like some wisdom that you can pass on to people that are watching that have their own small business to really check on, like the turning of those wheels?
Yeah, man, absolutely. You know, I think one of the biggest things that we see is for small business owners is I call it the creeper effect, basically. So like a lot of time in advertising, you know, we believe in our product so much and we're passionate about our product. And when we're marketing to people, you know, think about it like dating. If you got an email that said, you know, hey, my name's Taylor, buy my product now, you know, it's you've got to build a relationship with these people. It's just like a normal human relationship. And then on the other side, you can't be the friend zone. You can't say, oh, well, here's my product. If you like it, you can buy it, but don't feel pressured. You know, I don't want you to feel pressured. But if you like it, you know, you have to find that balance to build that relationship. And I think one of the biggest things is understanding, and what we talked about in my consulting firm is the before and after. You know, so don't say that you don't have my product, now you have my product. Start to think through about what emotions that's going to create. You know, in my consulting firm, that's what we say. You know, you've got compliance problems. You know, we'll come in, solve those for you so that you can go home with your family, have dinner with your family, and you're not staying late at the office. You know, we'll take care of your family member and make sure the procedures are in place so that we take the best care of them when they come to this facility. Those things create emotion, and that's repetition and emotion is what creates, you know, a decision, basically. You know, and that's what I always encourage small business owners to start to think through on their offer, is invoking those emotions. And then the second biggest thing I think would be direction. You know, understanding the metrics. You know, a lot of people don't understand the numbers in their business. They know the top line, they know the bottom line, but they don't really know the specifics behind that. And that's a whole discussion in itself. But yeah, I think having a direction for your business is huge. You have to set that. You have to set that mission statement. And you know, I always use the example. If you say, I want to go somewhere fun, you type that in the GPS, where's it going to bring you? But if you say, I want to go to Las Vegas, it's specific. You know exactly where you're going. It's the same thing in business. So you got to know where you want to go.
So really specific.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think the more specific, the better.
And is there any sort of way that you can touch on about that balance as well between not being friend zoned, but then not being the overly pushy and too hasty. Is there any sort of strategy or any way that you've sort of found that does find that comfortable medium, or is it really case by case and just really feeling into each sort of person?
Yeah, I think it's in our industry, and I'm just going to give an example with that. You find that just like you were dating, if you find somebody and you're interested and you want to start to get to know them, you start to learn about them. You do your research. I hate to say you stalk them on Google, but hell, that's what we do nowadays. You get somebody, you look them up.
Google. Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
It's that's the age we're in, and so if you're going into a situation uneducated and don't have any conversation points, then you're already lost. And so understanding the person first, and then second, providing value. So don't just ask them to go out. Provide them with something. Give them something of value, something that you can tell that they need, or that they've maybe mentioned that they need. And then from there, just build on the relationship. Is you know um oh, we got cops in the back.
They found me, but I'm gonna have to run.
Oh, I love it. That's it,
Yeah,
man.
what's coming to me, man, is I know there's a lot of people in my network, and I don't know if you're similar. Where we just went to the growth conference, so that was full of driven entrepreneurs and people wanting to step out, but that's not a common social setting. I'm surrounded by employees and by people that or students, people that are really still finding their feet, finding their passions, finding their purpose and their way in life. But is there anything that you can speak on to those people in respect to actually giving them the belief to step out and turn their passions or turn whatever they're really passionate about into a business that they can go and run, as opposed to going and working necessarily for someone else just to chase the money?
Yeah, I think we kind of hit that on the first core value, and it's basically you got to put the right gas in the tank. So for a vehicle to run, Grab Your Wheel says you're the vehicle for your life and for anything you achieve. You're that vehicle, and the first thing is you got to put good fuel in the car. You got to have that purpose. You got to understand why you're doing this. If the purpose is not big enough, then you'll never stay driven and motivated to do that. And along with that purpose, you've got to have the right motivation to do that. And I think one of the biggest things that I've found to kind of turn the corner on people that want to get started is gratitude, to be honest with you, man. Is you've got to have that gratitude in the beginning to say, look, I have all this going on for me in my life right now, a roof over my head, food on the table, a healthy family, whatever that may be. You've got to, number one, be grateful for what you have before you can ask for something different. And then my next step would be you got to just start, bruh. Smash the gas, floor it, and just get after it. We always say that I love working out, and my buddy's like, man, how do I get in shape? I said, dude, start now. Like, hit the floor, give me 10 push-ups. Like, literally, you can start now. If you can't give me 10, give me 2 sets of 5. If you can't give me 2 sets of 5, give me 10 sets of 1. I don't know, do something. Like, you can start now. And I always encourage that. It does not cost money. This is not a cash flow driven thing. You can get on, you can get the videos. You can reach out to people on Instagram or Facebook and ask questions. I mean, a lot of people are very open to talking to you about something that you're interested in. Don't think that you're the first one to ever do this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Always look at what's worked and then make it yours.
So that leads me to my next question as well, and I fucking love that that's where you went with that as well, is for those people that are, and I'm guilty of this as well for a long time, just very wishy-washy, trying to figure out what to do, wanting to save the world and have 101 things that they think they want to do, but not committing and just settling on one thing.
Yeah.
How do these people figure that out?
Man, I think, I use a lot of stories to talk about this. And one of the big things, I call it the Law of Five. And I got a post on my Instagram about it. But one of the things about the Law of Five, it talks about consistency. And so consistency, basically, we're talking about cutting a tree down. If you go outside and you hit a tree 5 times with an axe, then you put it down and you go inside and you start your day. If you go back outside the next day, hit it 5 times, and then you go back inside. eventually you doing that five times a day, that tree's going to come down. But if you try to hit that tree 1,000 times in a day and you got blisters on your hand and you break your axe and you don't cut the tree down, it's going to discourage you. So what I always tell my business owners or my entrepreneurs is look, it's a process. You know, it's you've got to go through the process and stay consistent with this. You've got to allocate time in your day to growing that part of your business. You know, I always say, Craig always preaches this to us is, you know, there's a difference between urgent important and unurgent important. You know, your urgent important is a text, is an email. You know, focus on the unurgent important. You know what I mean, in your business? What's going to push the needle? Is writing a book going to push that needle? Or is creating that e-course going to push that needle? Or is learning up on your industry going to push that needle? But you've got to stay consistent with that. And that's, I think that's a key for anybody that's wishy-washy. Because look, entrepreneurs, man, our focus goes everywhere. You know, we're like my friend says, small fly. He's like, you know, there's a fly on the wall. He's like, ooh, look, there's food there. Ooh, just opportunities. And that's what entrepreneurs are like, you know?
So they don't have an ideas problem. They have a focus problem.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And, you know, when you're working and you're networking, there's so many opportunities that come up, but you got to keep the first thing. And, and, you know, that consistency will just, eventually you'll look up and, I mean, man, it's unbelievable.
So talking on then the importance of patience, that's what I'm hearing as well, is just having that patience, consistency and drive and just persistence along that journey, just smacking that tree 5 times every day. And it is like, everyone knows that, like you said, if you just stop, give me 15 sit-ups and you do that every day, eventually you're going to have a 6-pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to have a 6-pack, but you're going to work towards it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think, you know, I think that consistency is just so huge, and it's something that people miss out on, just because, you know, a lot of people, like you see that these New Year's resolutions, don't make it a New Year's resolution, man. Just make it a to-do list. You know, make it a list of things to check off. And we always preach that, you know, you get a win or you learn. There's no losing in this thing. You know, you're winning or learning. And so, you know, if you win, you check it off, move to the next thing. If you don't win, then you learn, and you're still moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. And so, do you have a pretty clear routine yourself, like whether it be a morning routine or a clear set blocks out of personal development and business time and family time that you sort of stick to? Like, how do you operate your time management?
Yeah, man. It's something that I learned from Craig, and it's something that I teach my business owners as well, is that these big blocks of your life. So if you think on an iPhone calendar, like a big chunk in that calendar, these big blocks, you have to plan first. So the focus is planning. Don't plan your life around your business. Plan your business around your life. So the first thing you want to do, and one of the hard rules in my life, is setting a wake-up time and a bedtime. I mean, it's easy as that. You know, it's every morning I get up at 4:50. I know that. I let my dogs out, and then I take that first 30 minutes of the day, at 5 to 5:30, to read. I'm educating myself. I'm learning. From there, I do 30 minutes of just extremely deep work on my business, whether it's building marketing or whether it's writing my book or whether it's building an educational course, anything that's going to push my business to the next level. That non-urgent important work right there. Then some other big blocks in my life are date night. With my wife, we absolutely have a date night every week. And man, if y'all take anything from this, is put that in place. You know, if you're married or you have a girlfriend, if you make that a non-negotiable task, and your relationship, man, will just, it explodes.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, that, and then in my life, I set a time to work out, and then I set a time to shut it down for business, you know. If I haven't got it done by then, I don't need to do it that day. And then we just move on to the next day. But all those big things, those are the priorities in my life that take precedence over anything that I'll do in my business. And then from there, I can fill in the blanks with what I need to do in my business on a day-to-day basis.
I love that, because so many people are all about the hustle and just going hard, but setting your business around your life, not your life around your business. It's imperative. Yeah,
absolutely, man. I think, you know, the balance you know, my one of my guys said that works at the office. He was like, "Man, you literally have got all your work done by 8 o'clock, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. You know, it's done by 8. So the rest of the day, if there's fires or if there's things that I need to address, I can address them. And if not, I can start on things that I need to do."
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. So what time do you go to bed?
Usually 9:30, but I'm making an exception for you tonight.
You're a legend.
Yeah.
Right,
Hey,
awesome.
and you know, we always encourage people. It's like, look, you know, the bedtime's one thing, and hell, we in Louisiana, brother. We like to have a good time. You know, Mardi Gras and crawfish bowls. I'm sure you ain't never had a crawfish in your life, huh?
Not yet.
Oh well, when you come on down, we're gonna get you some. But you know, we
100%.
like to live life to the fullest. But really, I think a huge thing is making sure that you stick to that wake up time, man. You know, that's when, you know, if you go to bed late, try to get up at that same time every morning. I mean, that routine is just huge. To pushing your business to that next level.
Some that quick win in the morning as well just sets you up for a day full of wins as well.
It's true. It's true. You know, my dad used to say that he was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He said, "Boy, I got more done in my day before you even woke up." You know, I remember. I mean, he told me that every day. You know, and
Yeah,
so
sure.
funny how the world works full circle. Now I'm up at 4 something.
You're preaching it to everyone else. I love it.
Yep.
So mate, I'm going to be doing some live events around the States later on in the year, and I'd love to get down to Louisiana. I haven't set out a flight park here or a tour park just yet, but you're open to jumping on stage and joining on stage and sharing your wisdom with the crew down there?
Yeah, man. Absolutely, dude. You know, if anything, you gotta come on down. We'll show you a good time. But man, yeah, I would love to.
100%. Is there some wisdom you can pass on or anything that we haven't spoken about that you feel just compelled to share with these guys and anyone that's watching at the moment?
Yes, one thing that I've been focusing on, and the one message I took, well, I'll say two messages actually that I took from the Growth Con, and have really stuck with me is number one is the more knowledge, the more education, and the more experiences you have in your life, the more you can affect people. That was from Sarah Blakely, and I really was like, not only. A lot of times you like, oh, I'm in Italy. Let me get this picture so I can show off. No, man. Like, what did you learn through that whole process? There are people that, this is so trivial, but there are people that want to go there. Why don't you help them have an easier time? Why don't you educate them on what you did? You know, the more experiences you have, the more you can share with people. And then the second thing is attention. You know,
Yes.
when Grant talked about the things your parents taught you, I mean, my coon-ass mama came to my mind, man. Look, it was so real, but it's so true. It's like, boy, don't be the center of attention, and that is so false in business. You need to be the center of attention. Attention is where you make your sales. Attention is
Don't
how you
speak to
build your
strangers.
brand. Yeah, don't talk to strangers, but strangers literally have all of what you need. It's so
Yeah.
funny, but it was just those are the things that stuck with me, man. And in an industry as niche as mine, presence is huge, and so we've really been trying to get out, get that presence, get attention. With attention, you want to add value. You don't just want to be like,
Of
hey, hey,
course.
hey. You want to be able to give back.
100%. Love it. Brother, where can people find you online and yeah, catch up with you?
Yeah, so Instagram, it's Cottano51. That was my football number. On Facebook, it's Taylor Cottano. I've got a personal page, www.grabyourwheel.com. Kind of gives a little explanation about who we are at Grab Your Wheel and what we focus on doing. And then also got a workshop coming up, a winter workshop March 16th for anybody that's going to be in the States if they want to come. And we're going to touch on those 7 core values. We don't,
Is it online at all?
Yeah, so we're working on a program right now. We wrote a book on goal setting, but a lot of people have been reaching out and like, man, look, can you do an e-course on that? I want more. And so right now we're filming the segments for the e-course, and that'll probably be up by the end of the month. And so that'll be available on grabyourwheel.com.
Wicked. I love it. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, man, absolutely, dude. I appreciate you reaching out, and man, I can't wait for you to come on down, dude. We'll show you a good time.
100%. I look forward to it too. And guys, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. As always, believe in yourself, express yourself authentically, evolve consciously. we've been talking about. And mate, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Taylor.
That's it. All right, brother. Take care. Bye.
Take it easy.